Just after a year and a half ago, my wife, who is a first grade teacher in the area, was dealing with some trauma in the classroom. She had a student who had gone through some hard times, and her experience was probably, I think, the most difficult experience she'd had in 16 years of teaching. And I'm a licensed therapist, and so we spent a lot of time in the mornings just trying to figure out what do we need to do to get you to school, and arguably probably the most difficult 3 months we've seen over the last 8 years of our marriage. And I thought for a second, how many teachers have therapists for husbands? And probably not many. And that led to me talking to both men and women and other educators in our church. Here at Ridgepoint, we have about 300 teachers and paraprofessionals and principals that come to the church, and virtually every single one of them said that trauma is becoming the #1 issue in schools. In fact, there's a term for it now. It's called ACEs, Adverse Childhood Experiences, and it's a measurement score that they use to say, in fact, how many of these traumatic experiences have children been through. And then we found in conversations with experts in the area that West Michigan has some of the highest amount of children with adverse childhood experiences per capita in the country. And I wondered, is there anything that the church can do about that? And so we talked as a leadership team here at Ridgepoint and within our family of churches, and we decided we were going to put on an event. We called it a Day of Hope, a day where we could invite teachers and school workers and bus drivers and principals and church volunteers and individuals from the community who are part of schools to come in and talk about trauma. We brought in local experts to talk about what trauma is, how it manifests in the different ages and stages of life, how to deal with and work with trauma within a classroom setting. It was a great day. We had over 400 teachers from the area as far as Rockford and as far south as Benton Harbor come in and talk about trauma. And the biggest takeaway for us was actually in the last session of the day, where we talked about vicarious trauma. It's also known as secondary trauma or compassion fatigue in some ways, but it's where you take on, an individual takes on the trauma of the event or the encounter of the person they're working with. And one of our speakers talked about this vicarious trauma and the reality that trauma that we experience and encounter can be as traumatic to us as the initial event that happened to that person. And a teacher came up to me afterwards and with tears in her eyes said, there's a term for what I've been feeling for the whole year. For the first time, she was able to articulate, I've been traumatized because I've been working with a child who's been traumatized. And we often don't think about that.